Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well on this Sunday afternoon. It is cold outside here in Maryland. Hey, Kristen. I guess to be on in just a few minutes. I don't know where you all are, but that wind is blowing. It is kicking outside today. We actually got some snow. Give a couple of minutes so everybody's logging on. You're in for a great show today. Thank you to those that are watching, that have come on. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Those that are coming on, my guest to be on in just a few minutes, and then we'll get started with this great chat. Ah, there she is. Hello, hello. I'm gonna give her a few minutes to get situated, and then we are going to get started.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you
Okay.
just fine.
I can't
Can you hear me?
You.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
There we go. There we go.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started.
Awesome.
Welcome. Happy New Year, everyone. This is your favorite breast cancer survivor, Tisha, host of Tisha's Tea Room, the place where conversations conquer cancer. And today I am excited about, well, first, I always got to have my tea. I am ready. Today we are having a wonderful chat. I am excited about my guest that is on today. Just let me tell you a little bit about her. I met Dr. Anderson at a breast cancer conference. The Sisters Network Incorporated Black Breast Cancer Summit back in October. And when we met, we just clicked. We instantly clicked. And she was telling me about her background. I was telling her about mine, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got to have you come on to the tea room and just share her expertise, share her knowledge." And so, with that being said, I'm so glad that she has taken the time out. Please, everyone, give a warm welcome to my guest, my friend, Dr. Sherlita Anderson. Hi, Dr. Anderson.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here in Tisha's tea room.
Yep.
And of course, I definitely have my teacup for sure.
All right.
For sure.
And let me just say that Dr. Anderson is coming to the tea room by way of Houston, Texas. So
Yes.
Texas
Yes.
is in the house.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on and just taking time out of your day to just come
Yes.
to the tea room and just chat with us. And just to let everyone know, Dr. Anderson is a certified oncology nurse, but she
Mhm.
also currently works as a system oncology patient care director out
Yes.
again in Houston, Texas, with over 20 years of experience. So she knows what she's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, with 20 years of experience with breast cancer patients and staff. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that
Yes.
you are here. Just start off just telling everyone about, what does your job entail as a system oncology patient care director, and how did you get into a career in oncology?
Awesome. Well, thank you again for allowing me to be in Tisha's Tea Room. I'm so excited about that and so honored. And it was my pleasure to meet you as well. Yes, so I've been on this journey for a while. I actually started my nursing journey really about 4 decades ago, right? I started
Wow.
as like an LVN and then just worked through the system. I fell in love with oncology patients when I was working for the district, the Harris County Hospital District. And I started off working in what we call a chemotherapy daycare area when I got to that part of my career. And I fell in love with being there for patients
Right.
who were going through a challenge, who were having a difficult time. And then my career just moved on from
Mm-hmm.
there as I went further into working as a director and a manager first. I was working with oncology patients on the oncology floor.
Okay.
So I've always had that. I feel that once you get called to help people who are going through such a, how should I say, critical time in their life,
Right.
once you go there and the compassion starts flowing,
Mm-hmm.
you just want to stay there and see what you can do to help
Right.
somebody. And so that's what I've
Absolutely.
been able to do. So from the bedside all the way to managing others, to teaching other
Mm-hmm.
nurses how to take care of cancer patients.
Wonderful, wonderful,
Mhm,
wonderful. In your career, throughout your career, I know that you have developed
mhm,
relationships
mhm, mhm,
with patients. How hard was that, or how easy was that? Navigating through, being in the role that you're in
mhm, mhm.
and developing, relationships with patients and just seeing the progression of how their breast cancer journey is going. How did
Absolutely.
that?
Let me just first say that most people, even in the healthcare profession, when they look at an oncology nurse, they say, I don't know how you do it.
Yes.
They're like, I couldn't do that. For nurses all the way in emergency department or ICU or whatever
Right.
area they're working in, they find it very
Mm-hmm.
challenging, right? Because you see what's going on with the families. But one of the things I've learned is if I can have a part of one day being there for them, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
my patients would call me sunshine as well as my staff. They say, you bring sunshine to me.
Yeah.
And I've had times when I talk to people and I can share with them just different things I've gone through in life and seeing families get connected, if that makes sense. So you
Yeah.
have to be professional,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have to have compassion when you're taking
Compassion.
care of people that are going through crisis.
Absolutely.
Taking care of some breast cancer patients in my career, I've seen it from every stage, from stage one all the way to stage four, to those that were going through difficult challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but they would always have, I would say, the courage, I will say, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to share their story with
Yeah.
me. And to me, that's very important, right?
Yeah.
So you can be professional at the same time care for people. And so for me, the caring part is where I kind of put a pin at. I must care first,
Right.
and
Right.
then my professionalism would be, of course, I can't make decisions for anyone, but I can definitely empower them, give them the tools that they need. And then also also, as a patient advocate, making sure the doctor gets those questions they should have. So I tell my patient, write your questions down, because when the doctor comes, you're going to forget. So if I have to give them a pad and a pen and we go over it, and
Hmm.
then whenever I see the doctor coming, I'm there to advocate too. I go to the bedside with them so that they can feel empowered to share that with their physician. So,
Absolutely.
mhm,
And just speaking on from a patient standpoint,
yes.
just being able to have that or develop that relationship with
Yes.
your medical
Mm-hmm.
staff, that
Mm-hmm.
just, and like you said, just the being compassionate, that you
Yes.
have no idea how
Mm-hmm.
much that helps us to the anxiety level,
Mm-hmm.
because we're already on 10. We're
Yes.
already stressed out because we're dealing with something that is very traumatic.
Yes.
And oftentimes, and it's unfortunate that a lot of medical staff, they're just there to do their job,
Mm-hmm.
and just
Mm-hmm.
to provide care. But here you are, you not only provide the care, but you provide the compassion. You
Yes.
provide that listening ear, and you have no idea how much we as breast cancer as patients, we need that compassion, because again, we're going through something that is, number one, that has is changed our lives,
Yes.
and it could be, a matter of life and death.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to thank you for being the type of medical professional that you are, because that does help. And I hope that you know that what you do, it is setting an example for how all medical professionals should be,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is in
Mm-hmm.
oncology or whatever medical profession that you're in. Not only give us the care that we need, but provide that compassion, because we
Absolutely.
have questions. We may not know everything to ask, but when we have someone like you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Anderson, that is giving us the questions that we need to ask our breast surgeon, or our whatever doctor that we may be, or our
Yes.
radiologist.
Mm-hmm.
So just having that
Mm-hmm.
compassion, and I want to thank you for that. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that you have developed so many wonderful
Mm-hmm.
relationships with your patients throughout the
Yes.
years, just by being the kind of care professional that you are. So, I would say that's the good part of your job. What are some of the things that you do? Some of your job responsibilities as
Mm-hmm.
a patient, oncology patient care director.
Absolutely. So, of course, depending on where you work, roles might change, but I,
Okay.
I, I oversee several acute care facilities. I have the opportunity to impact not only my team from a system level, but I also get to help others in other hospitals with the work that they do now on this level. But I never forget whether I'm working with a manager director or
Hmm.
helping a staff member or helping a patient. I still see the work that I do as if it was my family
Yeah.
member, I would want someone to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So I imagine as I begin to grow in my career, because I've done more, of course, than oncology, but I ended up specializing in oncology for sure.
Yeah.
But it was because of different interactions in my own family, that taking
Okay.
care of my family
Hmm.
members that gave me that
Go ahead.
drive to go further, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So even on this level, with helping from an administrative perspective,
Hmm.
managers, directors, staff members, I keep my number available to our whole system. So any nurse, physician, our patient can literally call me themselves.
Okay.
And so that means if the patient needs something at the bedside, the nurse can call and ask a question. And I
Right.
like it that way, because I'd rather do that than wait for emails to come, if that makes sense, for
Yes.
somebody. So now I go across to help empower others to lead, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so I also helping with chemotherapy classes, also helping with policies and procedures to make sure that nurses have the education and the scope of practice they need, to make sure that we're following standards and guidelines related to safe care for our patients, and then to standardize that. And so then just making sure that that's getting done on a daily basis. But I've come all the way from the bedside to administering chemotherapy,
Hmm.
to everything, changing bedpans, answering the lights, and will still do that now.
Hmm.
And I keep my uniform still now, even on the system
Wow.
level. So if there's some help that's needed, and we need to go out there to help, I'll be
Hmm.
the first to say I can help do that, because I learned from very young, actually, because I started off being a nurse aide for
Oh,
years
wow.
ago.
So this is
So I know how to get the bedpan, and I know how to teach somebody else how to do
how
it.
to do it.
And with that
Right.
word, compassion.
Wow. I
That is
love
my pet
it.
peeve. Now, I'm not the little sugarcoaty person all the time, but it's
Mhm.
always professional, and it's
Yes.
always with caring for both the patients first, their families, and
Hmm.
then our nursing staff and leaders as well. Mhm.
Wow. What's the hardest part of your job? Or if
Wow.
there's anything that you
Yeah, of
would
course. Well,
consider being
we
the
all
hardest
say
part.
if you find something that you're passionate about doing,
Yes.
and if you do that, it won't seem like a job, if that makes
It
sense.
does.
And so sometimes I'm called the ever ready bunny, because, I'm always ready to keep moving.
Yes.
Um, I would say challenges come probably every day,
Hmm.
but I'm used to handling challenges, and I like to problem solve.
Okay.
So that's kind of
So
like
you
where
are the
I
problem
master at,
solver.
is solving problems. But yeah, it does get tough sometimes. p- so hey, I'm that half full person, that half glass full person.
Okay.
But long hours for sure, and
Yeah.
probably some would see that as a negative, right?
Right.
But for me, I see it as getting the job done, making sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's,
Hmm.
because somebody's life is dependent on it. Some family member is dependent on us, right?
Right.
No matter what level we're on. So that's what's important to me. And at the end of the day, I really don't look at how long it took me. I look at if we took care of our patients, our families,
Hmm.
and what we needed to do. And so I think that keeps me going, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It
I
does.
will
Hmm.
say this: over the years, and some people, we've been talking about this lately, it was actually my staff that would say to me, you make sure we get vacation, but what about you, if that makes sense. So they were the ones that
Hmm.
started me on this journey of, okay, self-compassion. And then a couple of years ago, we did a self-compassion seminar for our staff to make sure that they were having self-compassion.
Right.
So it's my staff that keeps me in line to say, okay, you did this for everybody else. Now you need to go.
It's your turn now.
So I
Self
learned from my
care.
staff as well. I learned from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Self care.
Mhm.
That is the word for this year. Self care.
Yes.
So please make sure that you know that you're not only taking care you taking care of your staff, but now it's time to take care of you because you do
Yes.
so much in the lives and you touch so many lives. So please make sure that you are doing that.
Hmm.
Everyone, when I introduce Dr. Anderson, keyword being doctor, she recently just got her doctorate,
Yes.
and I want her to just Dr. Anderson just share
Wow.
talk to us a little bit about when you were working on your doctorate.
Hmm.
What was your how did you come up with your topic? And
Oh,
share with
wow.
everybody what the topic was and how did you come up with it, and let's have a
Mhm.
conversation about that because this is what I'm really excited about.
Absolutely. So my topic was on culturally relevant education associated with knowledge gaps for African American women and breast cancer screening.
Yes.
Very passionate topic for me, because I feel like in the African American community,
Hmm.
we don't always get the information that we need, if that makes
It does.
sense. And in the literature, as I was doing my study as well, it's in the literature that there is a knowledge gap. It's in the literature that there's a health literacy issue that's related to that, if that makes sense. So,
Hmm.
meaning that there's already a gap because we have what we call medical jargon, right?
Yes.
So, I've been in this field for really over 4 decades now, actually hit my 40 years. So,
Okay.
this here,
Congratulations.
yeah. So, in this journey, you will find that there's a lot of jargon, for example, but
Hmm.
as nurses, we teach our nurses how to talk on the level that the patient can understand, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
we have a lot of big words we can say. We have a
Hmm.
lot of big words we had to study to get where we're at, right?
Right.
We didn't just arrive here. So we have to make sure when it comes to health literacy that people understand what you're talking about, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
In the literature, it also shows that there should be a good physician and patient relationship. Do you have a doctor who explains it in a manner that you can understand it? Because we may have the knowledge as healthcare professionals just in general, but am I articulating it so my patient can understand it?
Mm-hmm.
That is the key to me.
Yes.
And do you have the right questions to ask concerning your situation? So, for example, if we're talking about breast cancer today, I
Mm-hmm.
can't compare you, Miss Tisha, to anybody else because you're a unique individual. Yes, we have statistics. Yes, we have information, but I also need to know your history, right? So that
Right.
we can do the right thing we
Mm-hmm.
need to do for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was important to me in this study to look at what are we being taught as African American women,
Mm-hmm.
and our numbers are different from Caucasian women.
That they are.
And I wanted to point out to our women that it's not just a myth. It's not just somebody saying that because you're Black. The numbers are there, the statistics are there, and we
Mm-hmm.
need to know what they are.
Absolutely.
So I started on this journey. I was already assigned to do like health equity, and so I was thinking, I was like, okay, what topic could I focus on? Well, also my spirituality and ministry is very important to me, and so I wanted to look in our African American churches, our barbershops, our beauty
Mm-hmm.
shops. What
Mm-hmm.
are people not learning about, right? Because that's where I can really meet people in the community because
Yes.
I love community nursing too.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I said, but I had to get my topic down so I wouldn't be doing my study 10 years from now, right? So I
Right.
said, okay, well, we'll start in the African American church. We will
Mm-hmm.
also look at our women to see if the information that they're being taught. And we want to make sure that they can understand what is being said to us as African American women. And that's kind of how that got started. So on my journey, my professor, she challenged me and she said,
Mm.
it would be nice if you had like a comic strip. And she didn't know at the time that I was an author as well. So I was like, okay. So I was thinking about all these things. And so I would meet with her as well as my preceptor, and we would go to talk about what I was doing, all these clinical hours I had to do. Like, so I started my work with the church, and I did develop a comic strip.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Gigi and Me, where women can ask questions of each other about, have you got your mammogram? Have you got your mammogram? And what does that mean for an African American woman? And then also, I developed a book. While I was doing it, I said, I would like to do something multi generational so that our
Mm-hmm.
young women, our young adults, but our young women could understand because a lot of the recommendations from the American Cancer Society and other organizations say at a certain age, around 40 to 45, what about your breast mammogram? But I said, why don't we teach them much younger how to take care of themselves? Because in African American women, those numbers are lower, right?
Right.
And so it kind of started there. So we came up with I did my comic strip, I did my book, I did my own survey tool as well to do questions for women about breast cancer screening.
I'm, uh, I'm speechless. I am. I am speechless. I mean, amazing. Simply amazing. First and foremost, I love how you met people where they were. And for those that know, in the African American community, we congregate either at church,
Yes.
either at
Yes.
the beauty salon, getting our
That's
hair
right.
done,
That's
at the
right.
barbershop.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if you go to those institutions or those different places, you know that you know there's not a lot of conversation
Right.
about breast health
That's
and
right.
how to how making sure that you're getting your mammograms and all that.
Mhm.
So what better way to get
Mhm.
that conversation
Yes.
started than going to the barbershop? Hey,
Yes.
and because we all know men can get breast cancer
Oh,
too. It's
absolutely.
not it's just
Absolutely.
not something it's just not something that women get,
That is
and
correct.
it men can get it
Mhm.
too. But why not have conversations with women's groups at the church, or when you're at the salon, getting your hair done, even though it
Mhm.
may not be a choice topic of conversation that you might want to have, but it's something that is important and definitely need to be had.
Absolutely.
Because it is
Mhm.
very important to our health, because like you stated earlier, in the African American community, we don't have that knowledge,
Correct.
for various
Mhm.
reasons, again, because we may not understand the not the terminology,
Yes.
because I know, coming firsthand, when I first got diagnosed, there were some words coming at me like I have no clue what you were talking about.
Mhm.
But I was
Mhm.
fortunate. I was blessed to have a oncologist and a breast cancer and a breast surgeon that and a nurse navigator, my whole staff,
Yes.
that actually broke things down to me because I told them, I teach kindergarten.
Yes.
Talk to me
Yes.
like I'm in kindergarten.
Yes.
I'm I
Absolutely.
need the simplest of terms so that I can be able to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, we don't know, have the vocabulary knowledge, but there's trust issues.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
that's a big one.
Yes.
We have to get out of that mindset that we understand, and I know from what I've learned from school, the experiments that have been done with our people, and it is a trust issue, but we have to put that to the side now
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
build that relationship with your medical and with your medical staff so
Yes.
that you can get the proper and effective care
Mm-hmm.
that you should get. But
Absolutely.
in order for you to do that, you have to have the knowledge and you have to have that
Absolutely.
conversation. And I love how you are doing that. Look how you advocate, Dr. Anderson. I love it. I love it. I
Well,
love
I
it.
love it because I feel like the churches, the women that I've talked to have been very receptive. And I actually created a brochure as well because I couldn't find, especially a written brochure
Mhm.
that applied to African American women. And so I created my own evidence based information from research and everything. So I created one, and they found it to be colorful and helpful and actually speak to Black women, because it's one
Okay.
thing to pick up a brochure that talks about breast cancer in
Breast.
general. It's
Yes.
another thing to pick up a brochure that says this is for African American women. And so that's what I
Representation.
was able to do, both my own personal as well as in my organization. And I will tell you, the pastors have been receptive, and they wanted, while we were doing breast cancer, why don't we address prostate cancer? So
Mm.
I branched out now.
Okay.
And even after my study now, I've gone back to the churches, and my goal now is to get women to get their mammograms. So it wasn't just a study for one time, it was the beginning of a revolution to get our women to get their breast cancer screening.
So talk a little bit about how important is it?
Oh, wow.
How
So I
important?
know we
How
hear the
important is it for
term
your?
and it's become like a cliche,
Mm-hmm.
but that breast cancer screening does save lives, right? Early
Mm-hmm.
detection is so important because cancer can be silent and you might not see anything on the outside. But with you doing
Mm-hmm.
your self exam and knowing your breast is going to make the difference. When you go for your annual checkup, have your physician to do what is called a clinical exam for you. And I know the literature and sometimes is changing, but it never changes that you should know your own body, right? And so
Absolutely.
it's your information that's going to go tell the doctor what you need for them to do for you because you
Mm-hmm.
have a question, right?
Right.
And you start on that journey and don't you get off of it until you get your questions answered, right? Even if that means that you have to get a second opinion.
Okay.
So your self breast exam, then your clinical breast exam, and
Mm-hmm.
then at a certain age, you'll start getting your mammograms done. And the earlier they find it, the better. So I tell all women, the earlier, the better.
Mm-hmm.
If they catch it at stage one, when it's very small,
Mm-hmm.
then your chances of survival are much higher than waiting till they get to what they call a stage four, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
which is more difficult to
Difficult.
treat. So
Right.
early and early detection is the key. It is.
Absolutely. You just answered my last one of my last questions. That flow in perfect.
Yes.
The question, my question was, what advice would you give African
Yes.
American women that are newly
Yes.
diagnosed, or women that are overcomers
Yes.
of breast cancer? So you
Absolutely.
actually touched on that early
Yeah.
detection.
Early detection, and don't let
Yeah.
fear set in, right? Because
That's a good
that
one.
is the big thing that keeps you from going. One year I had gotten my mammogram done and they sent me a message back saying we want you to have an ultrasound, and I said okay, absolutely. So I scheduled my ultrasound because I want to make sure that I'm checking on myself right every year, and everything was well. They came that I had a very good technician that helped me. And then the physician came in and talked to me. They did my ultrasound. He said, you don't have dense breasts, which is another thing as African American women we have to be cautious of, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were very clear. Everything is well. Awesome. But what if I would have gotten into fear and not went and checked?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
So don't let that stop you because they saw something, and for those that are in the in faith, believing, you want to know
Mhm.
early as well, so that you can go ahead and take care of this and get it knocked off, the checked off. We can get it taken
Absolutely,
care of.
because
The
we are
earlier
good.
the better.
We're good for self medicating or self diagnosing
Yes.
ourselves, self medicating
Hmm.
ourselves. We are also good at, I'm gonna pray about it and let God handle it. But
Yeah,
this is why
I have to do
God,
my part.
we have to do
It's
our
first.
yes,
Absolutely.
we have to do
Absolutely.
our part as
Hmm.
well, so that God can do what He needs to do to through the
Yes.
oncologists, through
Yes.
medical staff like you,
Absolutely.
and so that He can heal and allow us to become overcomers.
Absolutely.
Wonderful,
Absolutely.
wonderful, wonderful.
Hmm.
So before we gosh, I can talk to you all day, Doctor. And oh my gosh, this is such this is such a great
Hmm.
conversation, and such an important conversation to be had. And how fitting for us to have this conversation. It's a new year.
Yes.
A lot of people are, making their resolutions. So how about
Hmm.
making this one of your resolutions as well?
Hmm.
Getting your mammograms, making sure that you are staying on top of not only your physical,
Yes.
but your breast health,
Yes.
staying on top of your mental health,
Mm.
and adding that part, just to making sure that your whole self is being taken care of. So
Absolutely.
with that, Dr. Anderson, I would like, how can people purchase your book,
Hmm.
get
Hmm.
your brochure,
Yes.
get any information that you have, because what you have is so important and so needed in the African American community. Because, like you said, we can go to any doctor's office and pick up a
Right.
flyer, and pick not a flyer, but pick
Hmm.
up a brochure,
Hmm.
and yeah,
Hmm.
and pick up a one pager
Yes.
about breast cancer. But you rarely see
Hmm.
information for
Yes.
people of color,
Right.
for African American women.
Hmm.
And your work, your brochures, your books, it needs to be out there, and it
Hmm.
needs to get in the hands of us. So how can
Yes,
we get it?
absolutely.
How can
Well,
we get it?
I do have a website that you can go to sherlitaanderson.com. It's my website,
Okay. I'll
sherlitaanderson.com. My
put
books
that
are
in my
definitely
on my
found on Amazon as
okay.
well. If you go to Amazon, you just type in Sherlita Anderson books. I have many of them,
Okay.
but you will find my book on My Mommy Cancer in Me for those that are going through the cancer journey. And this is for the children, because we don't always share with children like we should, because if you don't tell your child now, they will assume that it was their fault if something
Mhm.
happened, right?
Mhm.
So you
Right.
want to pick the right time, of course, and appropriate to their age. And you do have child life specialists and people that can help you talk to your children. But this is My Mommy Cancer and Me, which is one. And then Bianca and Her Mom, which is my new one that I did last year. And it's to help with that generational topic on mammograms and what we should do. And my last words are self-care. I think we talked about that.
Right.
We a lot
But
of times will take care of our cars better than we take care of ourselves,
you
right?
better say
And
that
so
again,
that
Dr. Anderson.
self-care, caring about yourself so you can live long, so you can be here for your family and take care of your children and live a fulfilled life and enjoy the fruit of your labor. Self-care is very
Self,
important.
that's the word for the day. Well, that's the word for the
Self-care.
year. That's the word for until we take our last breath. Self
Yes,
care. Here,
absolutely.
I'm saying it again, Dr. Anderson, for the people in the back. Self care. I love it.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love it. Dr.
Absolutely.
Anderson, I just want to say thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you. You have given us, you, I don't know about anybody else, but you have definitely blessed my soul. You have enriched me. You have given me a lot more knowledge. You have made me more excited about advocating and doing what I do. And I
Yes.
want to thank you for being the compassionate expert that you are in this field, and being the representation that we need
Yes.
as an African American community. We need more medical professionals like you out in this world that will help us to bridge that gap, because
Absolutely.
we do die
Mhm.
at a higher percentage rate than our counterparts.
Yes.
But when we
Absolutely.
have that
Mhm.
knowledge that you have just given us,
Yes.
How can
Knowledge is
we?
power. We say that all the time, but it is power if you use it
It
the
is
right
power.
way.
If absolutely, if it is, you said if it is done the right
Mhm.
way, it can, and it definitely will bridge that gap. It can do the most good. But we are going. Is there a song? I always like to end my shows on because I love to dance. That's
Yes.
one of my things. I love to dance and praise God. But
Yes.
is there a song that you listen to or that comes to your mind that just when you just
Wow.
you're even having a moment or you just you're feeling good or that just makes you feel good? What's the song that you
Oh my
listen to?
goodness. Oh, of course, it would always be something about praise.
Oh,
You
I got the
know.
perfect one. I got the perfect one. So we are going to end so first and foremost, Dr. Anderson, you know that this is not this is not your one and only time coming in the tea room. You are welcome back anytime. You are definitely coming back to the tea room and sharing more knowledge
You know, I
with
got my cup.
us because, like you said, knowledge is power. I
Yes.
thank you. I thank you again from the bottom of my heart
Absolutely.
for being the woman that you are, being the advocate that you are,
Mhm.
because that's what you are doing. You are advocating for us. You are giving us the knowledge that we need so that we can live healthy, productive lives and live it to the fullest. So, with that being said, we're going to listen to a little bit of, I've been listening to this a lot lately. Miss Karen Hawthorne, Look at God.
Oh yes.
Because when I say God is doing some stuff, he is doing some stuff. So, we're going to listen to a little bit of this because he is wonderful. He is awesome. And we have so much to be thankful for.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Yeah. But I know I'm protected by the blood, protected by the love, God, grace and mercy. Because he's given us grace and mercy, and he's given us
Yes.
favor,
Absolutely.
and he's given us wonderful, patient directors
Yes.
like Dr. Anderson, and we just, such a blessing. Look at God. He is making a way. And Dr. Anderson, I love you so much. Thank you so
Love you.
much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
And with that being said, again, everyone that has been on, I hope that you have been blessed like I have
Yes.
been blessed. I just want to say thank you for coming on. Again, this is Tisha, your favorite breast cancer survivor from Tisha's Tea Room, the place where conversations conquer cancer. And we just had another wonderful, courageous conversation
Ooh.
that it will definitely conquer cancer. With that being said, have a wonderful afternoon.
Got my tea.
Take
God bless
take
y'all.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.